I'll go ahead and post it up here. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Really glad to have you here this non-rainy Washington afternoon, which hopefully is going to generate some business for those of you who are able to be in business. As you know, it's challenging times right now, and we're here trying to spread some knowledge that many of our operators have learned, and our operators teach us stuff all the time. Founding Farmers was a wonderful partner for us, taught us many, many things, and I'm hoping they can share some insights with you as we go through this today. Can you guys see my screen, or can you see the PowerPoint at least? I'm always afraid to flip it to full view because let me see what that does. Is that going to work? Or is that, no, that's even worse.
Yeah, Tim, we can see your screen. You're all good.
Okay. We'll go back to the other one. Great. So with that, Founding Farmers is a really creative organization. We have with us Maria today. Marie, really appreciate her joining us. She has been quintessential to helping the organization succeed, and she, like all of our clients, has been very insightful, candidly, constructively critical of Gotab, which has been wonderful. We learn alongside our clients on a regular basis. Marie heads up many different aspects within Founding Farmers, and as you'll learn today, I'm sure she has lots of great ideas and creative solutions. Our relationship with Founding Farmers actually went back to, I knew Dan prior to COVID happening, and was in continuous conversations with them about the larger picture of what Gotab was trying to do prior to COVID, and continues to try to do, which is really focus on making a great guest experience. And
hey, Tim, sorry to interrupt. I think your screen went black for most of us here. If you wouldn't mind, just
let me try that again.
There we go. I can see it right now. Perfect.
Apparently, it'll only show on one of my screens. I will try that. So I thank you, Gerard. So with that, knew Dan before COVID, was talking to him about how to make the guest experience superior. And obviously, Founding Farmers creatively said, our guests need food, and not just food in their dining room, but food in a way that is a little unconventional. And as you may recall, in early COVID, it was very challenging to even get groceries. And so Dan, having a wonderful team like Marie and Aaron and many other people over there, was able to leverage our technology at Gotab and their creativity into making a product that was really addressing a lot of challenges for them. So we're going to focus on groceries today. We're going to talk about takeout some as well. And then Marie's going to tell you more details of how they're so successful at marketing. And as you all know, many of you are already Gotab operators. We are addressing a lot of things. One thing I do want to emphasize is Gotab was here before COVID. Gotab is not a COVID solution. We really, unfortunately, people see QRs and they think that QRs are a COVID thing. They were here before COVID. They will be here long after COVID. And Gotab is not just QRs, as Marie will talk to you today. Everything they're doing is from links on their website. So these are links from the Founding Farmers Market, which she'll talk about more. So this is all takeout and delivery. For those of you who don't know, Gotab is dine-in, takeout, and delivery. And we've recently added, which I don't think Marie is going to talk about, but on-demand delivery using Postmates and DoorDash. So this is all going to be in-house delivery. Very quickly, these are all the different things Gotab lets you do. I'm not going to belabor this because I know many of you are already Gotab operators, but she will talk to you about what they do at Founding Farmers, about managing their menu and configuring all these things. I know we're going to focus more on marketing today, and how do you get those guests to show up, or how do you get those guests to make that initial order. For some reason, that image is not uploading or updating. Is it doing on that on your screen? Okay, great. So I'll let Marie talk about this, and I will go ahead and hand it off to her.
Marie. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? The You're on Mute has been very popular in our group, I know, but seems like I'm not on mute, so that's great. So yeah, Farmers Restaurant Group. We are majority owned by American family farmers. We have locations throughout the DMV and also in Pennsylvania. So we make everything from scratch in our kitchens, and we make sure to source from farmers and suppliers that we know and trust. So, everyone knows it's in this industry that March was the start of something completely new and different for everyone. When the pandemic hit and kind of basically sent the entire mid-Atlantic into a full lockdown, we knew we had to, it was pivot or die, basically. Like, we had to pivot to survive. So enter Gotab. We first launched with our to-go platform, and we launched all 7 stores on a Saturday, which, looking back, maybe we wouldn't do that again. Maybe we would, I don't know. Thank goodness for Tim and Gerard and the Gotab team being right there to take the leap along with us and have great support along the way. But we started off with our kind of reduced a la carte menu, and then quickly also shifted and launched our market and grocery, which was a new frontier for us. I know for anyone else in the restaurant industry that's transitioned to that, it's been, learn as you go, trial by fire. And thankfully we had Gotab to help walk us through the whole process and get everything launched along the way. And to continue to improve and make updates as we go and learn what works, what doesn't work, what we need, what we don't need, and all that good stuff. So we can talk a little bit more about the specific. We learned a lot of lessons along the way, some the hard way. But one of the things that we've really come to lean on from Gotab is the pacing functionality, or what it's called on the back end is the orders per time slot. So that allows us to not crash our kitchen, and to make sure that we actually can space it out in a way that we can get everything executed in the correct way. So having that functionality has been huge in helping us to keep the guests happy, keep our kitchen staff happy, and make sure that all of the orders can be executed in the time that they need. One thing that we've discovered through our market and grocery kind of trial and error, a little secret tool that we use is, you have your short names for your items on the back end that the guests don't see, but they show up in the KDS and also on your packing slips. So we've actually assigned in our market and grocery platform, we've assigned kind of letters to designate the different sections where those items might be. So maybe cold storage is letter A, freezer might be B. So we've got everything organized by the short name with the letter in front of it, so that when they pull up the packing slip, everything's organized. So everything that's in the freezers together, everything that's in, retail is together. So that's been a huge help in increasing our efficiency too.
One thing I want to add, for those of you who don't know or didn't follow sort of Founding Farmers' arc on this effort, the volume was huge. And it's public, so I can disclose it. If you have not read the restaurants.org article, Dan actually disclosed the numbers. Am I allowed to say it on here, Marie? It was roughly $125,000 a day across the 5 units, I believe, in groceries. It was a lot.
A lot more than we had ever imagined that it would be.
Yeah, and so the throttling, I remember very well, Aaron calling me and saying, we have 100 cars in our parking lot trying to pick up their food at the same time.
At 2 o'clock. Yeah.
So a lot of these things were learned the hard way, but it was very interesting and exciting. It was great to get the guests their food, which they very much needed. And I think many of them love Founding Farmers. I'm sure a couple of them were grumpy, but some eggs get broken every now and then. But it was very exciting. One thing I will add is if you aren't using short names, they're actually useful we use them in beer halls as well. People just put a number in front of them, so it might be the number on their tap. There's very creative ways you can use short names so that you don't have to know necessarily where the product is. You can use a prefix to indicate where it's positioned. So if you have 50 beer taps, for example, and you don't know where the beer is, you just, number 5 is part of the short name. And it's a very creative way to do that. There's a lot of tips and tricks you can, work with the team to come out with. So sorry to interrupt.
No, that's a great add-on. Yeah, we go big or go home in Farmers Restaurant Group. So yeah, and even part of the great part about that Gotab also offers is the two-way communication with the guest. So we were able to tell the guests, hey, I'm sorry, we don't have your celery. Would you prefer a refund or would you prefer a replacement? Things like that, and being able to actually message back and forth in real time because you do have the guest cell phone number. It has been hugely helpful in our guest recovery if and when something goes awry, especially when you have people that are waiting in line in their car for a while, waiting for their contactless curbside pickup. So something, kind of switching more to kind of the marketing aspects of it that we've discovered over time. Your sorting does affect your sales. So we recommend putting what you want to sell the most at the top. Because when they land, they already know that they're going to order from you to go, right? Because they've gotten as far as clicking into your ordering page. So make sure you put whatever you want to sell the most of at the top. Right now we have, whatever our feature kind of is. So we might have holiday specials, or if we're running a promotion, we put that right up at the top. Then it kind of follows the traditional menu structure, starters, entrees, things like that. But we've also found that using images sells a lot more. So, Gotab also recently added that you can have both a category image and a product image. So we recommend, if you've got images, put them everywhere on everything. It definitely helps to sell, and it also kind of takes up those blocks and just gives more color and expansion to your menu.
We do have some new stuff I should mention at least. We do have a lot more menu layouts if you're using menu features. The grocery doesn't use them because the grocery is a mammoth list of, it's more like a catalog than it is a menu.
I think we have 1,000 items in our
right. Whereas if you're doing, say, your Thanksgiving menu and you really want to highlight the turkey with a big image and then smaller text for sides or smaller text for beverages, the new menu functionality lets you do that, because the menu presentation is really important and it definitely drives behavior.
Absolutely. And we've seen that through our own testing as well. We also love that we can own the guest with Gotab versus, say, like a third-party delivery service where you don't necessarily get that pass-through of guest information. So any guest that opts in, we can download their email address and information and use that for marketing. So that's been a huge resource for us as well. We do actually see a good amount of people that opt in and do take that opportunity. So definitely recommend getting that enabled for your own business if you haven't already, and taking advantage of that and taking those emails, especially, just make sure they're opted in, but and then adding them to your email list so that you can continue to have a touch point with those guests into the future. We also, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I was going to say, you mentioned a number, you get a pretty high number of opt-ins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were getting about 100 per week, depending.
Yeah, per location, correct? Mm-hmm. Or is that total? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a good resource and it doesn't cost you anything. So why not? It's great data to collect and just make sure that you're leveraging the data that you already have from the guests that are already in your warm audience and already, like your services. We also like to cross promote in the store when we can. As I'm sure a lot of you know, Montgomery County is going back to zero, I think tomorrow. Our Pennsylvania location has gone back to zero recently. So, when we can, we like to cross promote in store. We do use, we mostly use the links, but we do use the QR codes as well to allow people to order, if they wanted to order from the market, but are in the restaurant, they can still do that. And maybe they want to take a bag of granola to go, or they want to take home some cinnamon rolls, whatever it is that they have the opportunity to order from the market in store as well. And we kind of use that opportunity to cross promote, or kind of like a, did you know that we also have a market that you can order from. If you want your favorites at home, if you want them delivered, you can also get this for contactless curbside pickup along with your a la carte orders. So that's been a great tool to have as well. And then our final kind of little bullet here is that promotions work. We know in pre-COVID world, promotions were not really something that was on our radar, but everything changes with COVID. So we've tried all kinds of different promotions and we've seen a lot of success with different ones. You can see some of the screenshots of some of our promotions right here from our email marketing. We did a free pint of our house churned ice cream throughout the entire month of August. That promotion, we actually saw a 25% increase in to-go sales month over month, which was huge. So, cross-promoting that through email marketing and through, Facebook advertising, posting it on our organic social channels, changing out the links on our website. It's a big lift, but it has big return. We also use promotions like that to promote maybe some of our lesser known items. So like that we have house churned ice cream, that we make our own chocolate, things like that, our bottled cocktail program. So this is a great way to get some of your maybe lesser known items or items that you're trying to move a little bit more in front of your guests and provide them value. We also recommend adding some scarcity kind of messaging to it, 1 month only or 1 week or limited time offer, so that people are more motivated to claim that offer in a timely manner. We also, when we're doing these promotions, we always request 3 links, 1 unique one for the website, 1 unique one for social, and 1 unique one for email marketing, so that we can even further track what types of marketing are working and who's claiming the promotions from where. So we know that most of them are going to be from the website more than likely, because we'll switch out the link on the website for the to-go order with this promotion link. We see a lot from email, pop the first day that the email goes out, maybe a few more trickle in after that, and then we'll see a more consistent grouping from social over time as we continue to promote it, or usually right before it ends, as that final kind of last chance messaging. So that's something that you can easily do to track your promotions, and that'll show up in the PMix for you.
Have you, out of curiosity, and I didn't prompt you with this yesterday, I'm curious, have you done any direct mail marketing at all with QRs or anything? Okay, I was just curious. I know we've provided you with a map of your delivery location. So in theory, you could do, a targeted direct mailer, and with the QR maybe promoting, and obviously that would make your logistics potentially cheaper because you could have more deliveries in a constrained area. But
we're digital right now.
Sorry?
We're digital right now.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know if it would give a good return or not either. It probably depends on the demo of that area. So heading from there, I know we have some questions. We have some that we prepared, and we had some that people asked over time that I can jump into. And then also, Gerard, if you want to open it up, I don't know if people in the audience are you queuing up questions as well, Gerard?
Yeah, so I was actually just going to butt in here anyways. I do think it would be a good time maybe just to take some questions from the attendees, either from Marie or Tim. Marie, I know we've been getting some questions in general from some of our current operators, how you guys were so effectively able to transition so quickly, given the short notice of the pandemic. So I don't know if you maybe want to kick it off and talk a little bit more about that. And while Marie's doing that, if anyone from the audience does have a question, feel free to raise your hand or type it in, and then we can just address those as they come in.
I think we transitioned so quickly, you don't need to sleep, right? No, no, but seriously, it was a lot learned in a short period of time. We decided that we were going to do it. And if we were going to do it, we were going to go all the way. So, we launched, like I said, we launched our a la carte at a little bit of a limited menu. And then over time, we've kind of added on to that. Our market and grocery, I think we launched with 600 or 700 items, which was insane. But we did it, and we kind of learned along the way how to execute. We started off with a lot of our proprietary products, so things that we were already making in the kitchen, kind of chef's case selections, maybe it's short ribs and mashed potatoes type of thing that we could easily package and go. We also, like I said, we make everything from scratch. So we had our own granola, things like we could package up cinnamon buns, English muffins, all of our breads are made in-house. So things like that. We had to figure out kind of a commissary situation where maybe one location is mostly our bakery, and kind of transferring that in between stores, and kind of some supply chain logistics. There were some shortages at the beginning when people were ordering, strawberries, and then half the strawberries are bad, so thankfully, again, we had the communication tool through Gotab to be able to message the guests and tell them, hey, I'm really sorry, we don't have this, but we can refund you, or, swap something out for your order. But yeah, it was a lot of learning on the fly, a lot of late nights, but we figured it out.
Yeah, those are the pre-inventory days.
Yep, that was before we had inventory management, so it was just like disable.
Oh, yeah.
As soon as we knew something was out of stock, and then a lot of times we had people pre-ordering, so it was too late. So we had to tell a lot of people that pre-ordered, hey, I'm sorry, we're not going to have your XYZ. I will say that the guests have been super understanding, and they know that we weren't a market and grocery, and that we were trying to kind of fill a need that they had, and people were very, very appreciative of that. And overall, I would say very understanding and adaptable. So that is the upside. They know that we were figuring it out as we go also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. That's great. One of the questions that I think many of the operators have, and Tim, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts as well, but a lot of our partners are restaurants, are not used to switching to a all takeout, all marketing grocery model. I know a lot of our partners, primarily sell beer, and do have some food items on the side. How do you start this endeavor? And Tim, I know you had some experience with Caboose after seeing the success of Founding Farmers, but Maria, I'm just curious, how did you guys begin this? It's a lot, and it's new, and it's scary. So I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts.
Tim, you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I think, well, from what we saw from our side, we basically both agreed to jump in when Dan called us and said, like, hey, we're going to do this. And I was like, I think our system will work. Because honestly, it wasn't really designed for 1,000 products, right? When that was something we looked at, and we were like, okay, let's see what happens. And then we stood that up. And then from our end, Jordan, you lived through it with all of us. And I think it was just, like Marie said, it was a ton of time, a lot of effort, and some serious commitments, to get it done.
And I know you both touched on this as well, but certainly worth the effort, given the returns that you both saw from your stores.
Yeah, basically what Tim said, you just have to take the leap. And Dan has always been, Dan is the owner, one of the two owners of our restaurant group. He's always been an innovator and a pioneer, and he's not scared to take the leap or do the hard pivot when need be. So we're super grateful for him and our fearless leader. But yeah, it's you just have to commit to it, and sometimes you don't have a choice when your entire indoor dining is shut down. So
yeah,
as we go. And luckily we worked out a lot of the kinks for everyone else now.
Definitely
so
a trendsetter.
Features that exist now that didn't exist when we did launch a 1,000 item market.
Right.
Yeah. And Marie, I have a question, because I know Founding Farmers does a phenomenal job at marketing, which is obviously why we asked you to be, to lead this. Could you give a little background on how you do marketing, maybe tools, what your resources are? I mean, I know it's not an army of people, but I am curious, like, how do you get it all done? What are your preferred tools? Maybe some background on that.
Sure. Yeah, we have a pretty small marketing team, small but mighty. We use a lot of email marketing. Like I said, we try to leverage our guests that we get opted in from Gotab. We've been around for a while, so we have built up kind of our list over time as well. Trying to keep our email marketing really concise, keep it very targeted toward people. You know, we do have people out in Pennsylvania, so we try to make sure that the Pennsylvania people don't get the information for the DC people and vice versa that's not relevant to them. And just kind of keeping that hyper targeted information flowing to the guests. We also use, I think actually our director of social media is on the webinar, Emily, but she does an amazing job managing all of our channels on social. And we push all of that out, and we try to be big on actually engaging with our audiences through organic social media. And then we usually also will layer social media marketing on top of that, paid advertising. And again, we leverage kind of those email lists as part of our digital marketing solution, load them into things like Facebook, or load them in, for different targeting options. Placing remarketing pixels, you can target people who visited your website with ads, that warm audience that is probably more likely to buy your Thanksgiving, especially when we're in pandemic times. So brand trust is a huge aspect of where people are choosing to dine these days. So kind of making sure that you're keeping touch points with people who are already familiar with you and are already in your warm audience, and bringing them back and offering them new things. So this year we're doing a New Year's Eve at home option. We did Thanksgiving at home, we're doing Christmas at home, we did a Hanukkah at home. So we're, trying to keep things fresh and keep marketing to those who are already familiar with us. And we have that established brand trust with them through multiple channels. And then also new guest acquisition through, social media marketing, things like that.
Do you run the ads yourself, or do you have a small agency that does that, or is that?
We do them in-house.
You do them in-house. Okay. And you just do them directly on Facebook, or you use any tools there that you recommend?
Yeah, we do them directly on Facebook we have a business manager account. So yeah, we do them all directly through.
Got it. And Mailchimp is your email tool of choice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have a pretty large list, so we pay for Mailchimp, but yeah, we do use Mailchimp, and it's pretty good. It allows you to also set up different type of lead generation ads, things like that, where you can set up kind of flows where users will get particular emails if they opt in different ways. So Mailchimp's a great tool that you can leverage in a lot of different ways.
How many of your opt-in, I suspect a lot of the reason that you get so many opt-ins for marketing is because you do these promotions, and people know, hey, if I opt in, I'm going to get the next Founding Farmers promotion. I mean, do you have any idea how much influence that has? Because obviously you're doing these great promotions. I mean, Patricia, our CMO, is saying that she just did one because of the promotion. Do you have any idea how much of that is for that? Is that a big driver, you think, in your subscriptions?
I think so. Yeah, I think recently, at least, like I said, in the past, we've had just over time, we've been able to kind of accrue our list. And only recently have we started doing these types of promotions. So I definitely think it helps people get their foot in the door with us, and then we are able to pull them in by really having these great promotions. And I definitely think it is a driver for people to opt in, stay on top of the latest promotions, make sure when orders close for, we sold out of our Thanksgiving at home offering, so it's also that kind of scarcity that I mentioned before, make sure to place your order now. There's only however many spots left. So it's kind of just being in the know and knowing when those promotions are coming up or about our different offerings on the early side.
Okay. Gerard, any other questions? I've got other ones I can get to, but I didn't know if there were any other panel. Any other.
Right now, no additional questions from the audience. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type it in the chat or raise your hand. Tim, before you ask your question, I do have one question. I know we were just talking about the marketing efforts, and you guys take a very analytical approach. So my question for you is, how have you used the data analytics that you've been recovering from Gotab to drive your marketing efforts?
Sure. So like I mentioned, we do generally request 3 separate codes whenever we do the promotions, one for email, one for the website, and one for social, so that we can track which channels are actually converting into sales. And we can see how many people claimed the order or the promotion. We can also see how much we actually discounted because of that promotion, and kind of reverse engineer how much people spent based on that. We track all of our promotions on an ongoing basis. Some locations we know, just based on running a bunch, are more likely to claim it than others. Different locations like different things. So it's just a matter of actually trying to keep track of those promotions and using those analytics to inform your decisions going forward. We know that people love free stuff. They love free donuts, they want free ice cream, free chocolate, things like that. We also have seen success with percentage discounts, especially on the market and grocery, where your total basket size might be a little bit higher because you're shopping for groceries, whereas your a la carte might be a little bit lower. A 10% off is a good discount for market and grocery. So, we try to run kind of flash sales. We've also seen, if you run the promotions for a longer period of time, a lot of people will claim it at the beginning, and then you might see a few more over the next couple of weeks, and then maybe you might have another little pop at the end if you promote it on your social media or through email marketing. But we've learned that the shorter promotions are better because it has that sense of urgency. So people are more likely to claim it in that initial week, 3 days, 4 days, whatever it may be. So yeah, we have a lot of analytics swirling around. We use, Gotab has really done a great job in kind of consistently adding more data and analytics to the back end for us. And we've even linked up our Google Analytics to our Gotab. So that's also been a huge help to see that information flow through. So we also look at Google Analytics as well as one of our tools to see, where people are coming from and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Just switching gears a little bit to takeout away from grocery. Obviously you're doing a lot of third-party delivery, and then you're doing some amount of takeout, I believe, through those. But then you're also pushing takeout on demand through Gotab. What are some of the differences there? I mean, where do you see that going? Are you going to drop coupons into bags at some point in the future? Do you have any ideas of trying to get more direct relationships with those guests, or what do you have any plans around that?
Certainly. Yes, we have cross-promoted that. So we have put, QR codes or promotions in the delivery orders, trying to kind of redirect them back to our Gotab and, direct to go sales profile. Just because obviously, as we all know, that third-party delivery does take a nice little slice of your pie there. So we try to direct them back to and cross-promote as much as we can. We do some of our own delivery through our market and grocery because the orders are, they were crazy, but maybe they will be crazy again coming up here shortly. But we've adjusted our delivery strategy a few different times. We are still using third party for the majority, but we do deliver our own market items. I will say that to do that successfully, I would also recommend investing in a routing program that will help to maximize the efficiency of each trip for the drivers.
And do you mind sharing what that is?
I actually don't know.
Oh.
That's not my piece. Our IT guy set that up.
I know what it is if you're fine with me sharing.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty slick product. It's called Optima Routes. If it's the same one you guys are still using, it's pretty nice. I think we looked at when you're doing the volume you guys are at, it makes sense. When you depends on where your volume is to whether you need it or not. But the product's called Optimo Route.
Yeah, so I'd recommend if you're going to invest in drivers and delivery, also investing in a tool like that will end up saving you a lot of time on the back end.
Yeah, there's some other systems out there. That world is rapidly changing too. So we're looking at it from the Gotab side, saying, do we want to integrate into Optimo Route? Do we want to integrate? There's a number of different products that we can push into. Obviously, we're integrated into the DSPs now, or the third-party delivery providers. But obviously, if you have some amounts, where we see it kind of going is maybe some radius as your own drivers during peak times, so you can manage that. And then maybe you outsource to DoorDash or Postmates or whoever beyond that, and let the guests decide if they want to pay for that or not. So it really depends. You can staff to peak times and push it out to third parties for off-peak times, for example. Gerard, do we have anything else?
I on a similar vein of delivery and self-delivery, I do know a good number of our partners have toyed around with delivering to apartments nearby or doing what we call micro delivery. And I know you've had experience doing this yourself with some nearby apartment buildings and neighborhoods. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about your experience doing what we can call micro delivery.
Yeah, so we have partnerships with a couple of, like you mentioned, apartment buildings and things like that. We have one near our Reston Station location that actually has its own zone, so that we know that when orders come in from that, we walk it over. It's literally next door. We can walk it. So we walk it over to the front desk, drop it off, and send people a message that says, your order is downstairs. So that's been great. It's a great tool to have, and just kind of doing some grassroots, getting out there and talking to the people that are in your neighborhood and seeing if they'd be interested in a program like that. And very often the building themselves will send out a mass email to the people that live there saying, hey, here, you have this opportunity, here's the link, type of thing, or have the QR code and pass out flyers around the whole building. So that's definitely something that you can utilize for like hyper local delivery or micro delivery.
Yeah, we were doing that pre-COVID with more office buildings and hotels, because obviously people were still in those buildings before COVID.
Right, where they live is where they are now. Where they work, not so much.
Exactly.
I would say, just to piggyback off that, for those operators on the call who are interested in self-delivery and don't feel like they're ready for the full delivery route optimization, this micro delivery concept might be a good place to start. So thank you, Marie, for on that. I do want to check, I know we're coming up on time in 2 minutes. I do want to check and see if there are any questions from the audience that we have not yet addressed.
We can save people another minute. So.
All right, Tim, do you just want to walk us through the takeaways before we close out?
I mean, we've all been living it, right? You have to work with the team, and obviously Founding Farmers is a wonderful team, and I think Gotab teamed well with them as well. Creativity is the name of the game. I mean, that's pretty much what I think that beyond COVID, we're still going to be reimagining restaurants, is my suspicion. And I think there's going to be a lot. I was just watching someone else present on what they think 2021 holds. And I think it's still going to continue to evolve very rapidly. And they were actually talking about operations is probably the biggest area of innovation. And we certainly at Gotab agree with that. And then the last one, which I think Founding Farmers is amazing at, is staying close to their guests, their customers, and listening to them and keeping it as real and intimate as possible. That's why you engage with them as well as you do. I mean, Dan is so much better at addressing the public than I hope to be someday. I think that the team does an amazing job, and Marie and all of you do a great job engaging your customer base. So staying close to home and building that local brand is so incredible. And we're really proud to be, working with founding farmers, and appreciate all your insights. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you so much, Marie. If anyone has any questions for either Marie or Tim, please feel free to reach out to our support email, support@Gotab, or your dedicated customer success rep if you are a Gotab partner currently. So look forward to hearing from you all, and thank you all.
Thank you all. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.